talking to you on everything tech, basically entrepreneurship, apps, anything to do with pushing anything around, economic conversations, keeping you updated on UK and the startup culture going on here. Now we've got a couple of cool conversations around what is actually pushing for IPOs, and then pushing for the cool tech, actually cool ideas, and if it is into future going into futuristic conversations, if it is going into climate change reduction, and then pushing for different opportunities in the future. Right now, it's super cool to hear and see how now it's super cool to see how the other companies are actually pushing, and the UK government is actually encouraging a lot of IPOs. Right now with this startup, basically now Matt's going to basically introduce this battery powered flying aircrafts, right? And these guys, how much have they actually raised?
They raised about like £5 million, and they're supposed to like raise £25 million. But
No
that's
way.
like really good.
Yeah, that's super news, because now in my opinion, I think the conversation around these guys are actually pushing for now if how many seats also did they say it was going
It's
to
like
have?
a 6-seater vehicle.
Yeah.
And that's a luxurious seating, and it flies in the range where like no other aircrafts go, because usually airplanes, they go like really high and they go international and domestic.
Yeah.
But what they plan to do is they plan to like use this virgin airspace, because no one's using that, and
Yeah.
reduce traffic and use it in urban areas.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys have a basic, you guys have a cool idea, a brief idea on what we're going to actually brief you on. Now we're going to show you a quick video on who we are and what we do. And we'll be back with the cool news right back, on Relax Radio. This is The Buzz. And we'll be talking to you about this conversation. We'll be updating you on what's going on, what is actually, the story behind this brand, and, who Evtol is, and what their scope is, where they're looking at going, right after this video. That's right. We're Relax Radio. We're on, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all channels. We're easy to reach out. We're on the App Store as well. And anywhere you want to hear us, we're ready for you. Now coming back to the conversation on Evtol, right? So we were talking about a 6-seater cabin, right?
Yeah.
And now in terms of safety and in terms of the risk, I think my honest take is how. I think worse than, more critical than cars, at least. I think they need to be a little more careful, right, on how they are looking at switching from the traditional, the fuel, the fuel, the gasoline machines to just electric. So what's your take on that? What do you
They're
think?
going to switch into battery, and that's good, because petrol is like running down with nowadays, because you need a mine for coal and all of that and produce gases. But like batteries, they're more reliable, and they last for longer and less pollution.
Yeah. I think pollution is the biggest story as to why they're looking at pushing for this, right?
Yeah.
Because now when it comes to things like, I think the battery also, if you remember the Model 3 by Tesla, that was one of the first cars, right?
Yeah.
And the whole brand, the whole concept around battery powered vehicles was just a joke back then, right? This was about, I'd say, 10 years ago or
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you remember Back to the Future?
Yeah.
At that time, they were like talking about flying cars and things like that.
Yeah.
And now it's actually come to life. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So and what's funny is that it's all battery powered vehicles, right? So pushing for, not in terms of stats, what we're going to talk about is, this first flight was basically built under the Y6S plus battery powered flight, and they're talking about only short range transportation in urban areas. Now the reason for this is because I think every long journey starts with a few steps, right? So they definitely need to push for, they're looking at reaching speeds of around 200 kilometers per hour. That's around 125 miles per hour. And then in terms of range, how long are they looking at pushing for?
As in like distance they go.
Yeah. In one charge.
130 kilometers. That's like 100 miles in one single charge.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty big cool step and a big step in terms of pushing for a greener future or pushing for a renewable basically future, right?
Yeah.
Now your opinion. I mean, we always talk about how your opinion is always valid. Now we want to know what your take is. We know you're listening in, and we just want to know what your take is in terms of the battery powered flight, right? Now we know it might be a small amount of risk, and then pushing for futuristic transportation in terms of the interior as well. It's not just powering the fans, right? It is also powering the systems. If there's air conditioning, if it is if there is tech, or if there's basically shutters and the the audio systems going on inside, even if you're relaxing to Relaks radio in the plane, right? So I mean, it's a pretty cool concept as to how they're looking at autonomous flight, and they're pushing for this concept to come out by 2023. And in terms of the Virgin airspace, why do you think they're actually pushing for the Virgin airspace first of all?
Traffic. So traffic's like everywhere, no matter where you go, it's always there on the road. But the Virgin airspace, nobody uses it, and like nobody's up there except for the birds and like international, like the big airplanes, helicopters.
Yeah,
they don't go on that level.
Yeah.
The Virgin airspace is like at 300 feet upwards.
Yeah.
And aeroplanes and other flying vehicles, they go higher than that.
Right.
So
this is 300 kilometers, you said, right?
300 kilometers.
Okay. And in terms of I mean, I think these guys, I mean, Virgin is basically investing into space travel as well now. I mean, with SpaceX, and then Jeff Bezos's startups going on to space travel as well, because there's so many countries also that are actually pushing for space travel. We have the UAE, we have Russia. I mean, China is also pushing for satellites going out. It's a cool story, because now coming back to Virgin, and they're coming back to Virgin and their space travel program. They are also looking at pushing for commercial flight to travel around the world, or do space flights. It's pretty cool, right? As to how far we've come from the last 3 years or so. I mean, Virgin Galactic alone have I mean, they've had a few hiccups as well, but it's been a long journey. But we are actually coming to that point where even SpaceX is pushing for people to go to the moon later this year. So I mean, like I say, you can always share your opinion. You can actually join the show and let us know what your thoughts are. We can voice them as well. If you are in any industries that are pushing for, if you are in any conversations that are pushing for future in terms of space travel, in terms of battery powered conversations, you can always feel free to join. Now the conversation here we are actually pushing for is battery powered aircrafts. You can always follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook as well. If you're looking at following us on YouTube, our pages names are Relaks Radio. If you are keen on understanding what more the future is with e-travel. When I talk about e-travel, I mean the battery powered travel, right? So since we know flight is a relatively high risk, what's your honest take on it? Do you think they'll be able to start with battery powered flights with people this year, or
with people? Well, they've been testing. Have you heard of drones?
Yeah.
They've been testing that on animals, and now they've made like this is just like a gigantic drone capable of like carrying 6 people. And
Right.
we tested this like before, and
That's super news. So how far do you think they're going to go with this, like this year at least?
I think with enough funds, they'll go really far. So currently they have 5 million, which is like
Yeah,
really
5 million is quite a bit, right?
And their goals aren't that high with the project they're focusing now. So 6 seats, 6 people is their target to carry now. If they can carry more, that'd be great. So I think they'd go for like 7 max.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, pushing for 6 people alone, that alone I think is a decent risk. I mean, given that what I would do, what I think Elon Musk would do if he was funding this startup, right, was him himself flying in it. Now that is one thing Richard Branson as well did. He himself flew in the aircraft to just prove the confidence, prove the assurance to different to their audience. Now this flight, the innovation startup, when did they actually, how old are they?
I think they were established on 2017 in
Yeah.
UK.
Okay, right. So that's almost 5 years now. But it's a pretty cool technological, I think, innovation, and to add to what is going on, right? And the fact that it's right here in UK, I mean, it's adding so much of value to our market, because we know the government's been pushing for a ton of IPOs, and then just to get the money coming into the country, right? I mean, get the money running as well. Now, in terms of construction, what is the story there? What are the designs that are looking at coming out of this?
3D printer, like revolutionary 3D printing softwares, hardware manufacturers, and yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll need to basically with good design, and I think the story with 3D alone is going pretty far. I mean, the concept around how I mean, on the buzz also we always talk about how the clean energy, or in terms of the futuristic energy, people are looking at renewable or reusable energy, right? But with the 3D printing, I'm pretty sure we can, I'm hoping at least they go for the plastic sector, and I'm hoping obviously it's reliable, right? So I mean, this conversation, I think, in terms of this, I think we're going to continue a conversation around this for in time to come, and then we'll actually keep you updated on it. We want you to join the conversation as well. Now, I'm going to put our number here. We are reachable on 07852473473. That's 07852473473. I'm Tim.
And I'm Matt.
And now we'll be back with you on the buzz with more cool topics around business, tech, entrepreneurship. Just stay tuned on our channels. If it's Instagram, if it is Facebook, if it is YouTube, we'll be right back with you, updating you on the coolest conversations around these conversations. And even if it comes to the UK market, and how the government is doing or the economy is doing, this is the place to be. It's right here on Relaks Radio.